Brews and Banter.
All right, Frank, at another location.
Yeah.
New York State, love it. And this place is special. Buffalo has a great history, and we are here with our great host. Thank you for having us. Let everybody know who you are, where we at.
Sure, yeah, thanks for coming here. My name is Matt Kahn. I'm the president and co-founder of Big Ditch Brewing Company. We're a brewery and tap room in downtown Buffalo, New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so and in multiple locations, right?
Yeah, we have, really we've got this location, which is our original brewery and our only current tap room. And then we also have a bigger production location that we opened about a year and a half ago, just a few blocks away on Oak Street. So it's like 4 blocks away. That's the location that usually we don't have too many guests at because it's there's no tap room there or food or experience. We'll do little tours occasionally, but that's where actually most of our production happens these days.
And then you say current tap room because I think there's plans for something in Lockport.
There is. That's correct. Yeah. So we announced plans again, just like maybe 6 months ago, 4 to 6 months ago, for a second tap room location in Lockport, New York, which is 5-minute walk away from the Erie Canal, which is central to our story.
That's right. Yep.
History and story. Yeah.
Well, while you're on that topic, give us a little history on Erie Canal and how that ties with Buffalo.
Your name, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Before we jump in that, can we start with the beer?
Yeah, we could get it. Yeah, of course. Like, what are we talking for?
My mouth is watery. I'm like,
when I do tours, it's like that. It's like, all right, I know I've talked for long. Let's get back to the beer. You know?
And then we're gonna get into the history.
Yeah. So as you requested, we did a little flight here for you, a little sampler. So I've got 5 beers for you. We'd like to do a flight of 5, which again is a Erie Canal reference. The Flight of 5 is actually a huge flight sort of complex, or lock complex over in Lockport. So a Flight of 5 locks. So number 1 is a beer we call Little Waves. It's a sort of a German style Helles lager. Number 2 is called Blacklight. It's a dark lager, Schwarzbier almost. Number 3 is a new beer we just put on called Natural Blonde. It's a Belgian style blonde ale. Number 4 is a beer we just also released in cans. It's coming out tomorrow officially. Called Strawberry Vision. It's a fruited sour. And number 5 is our flagship Hayburn American IPA.
Awesome. I'm a huge Helles fan, but
yeah,
this particular one here.
What should we start with?
So I number them and order them in the way we should go, which is how you should do it. So we'll start with number 1, which is Little Waves, or German style Helles lager.
Cheers.
So cheers. Yeah, enjoy. Always want to start with something light.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, traditional sort of German-style lager. Just Helles lager have a pretty good amount of maltiness, so it uses all German-style malts in there. Just a little bit of hoppy bitterness to it.
Yeah.
But, very drinkable. We like
Now,
this
are you brewing yourself? Or you probably did at the beginning?
I don't brew too much anymore. Well, I shouldn't say I don't brew anymore. But I'm still very involved in the brewing process. So between the 2 sites, again, our production site and this site, which is almost like our R&D site, I'm going back and forth with our brewers, managers, supervisors all the time. So pretty involved with the brewing process, but I don't do much brewing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us the history of Erie Canal time with Buffalo.
Right.
I mean, it goes further, and it's, from Buffalo and all the way down to where we are in Syracuse.
Yeah, that's right. So the story goes, in the early 1800s, it was proposed to build this enormous waterway connecting New York State from east to west. Nothing like that had existed in the country before, because it was an enormous project. I think the original Erie Canal was 363 miles long, something like 40 feet wide, 25 feet deep, and all to be dug by hand. So no construction equipment or anything like that back then. So as it began, nobody ever thought it would ever get finished. It became known as Clinton's Ditch for Governor DeWitt Clinton, who had championed this project. He thought it could really transform New York State into one of the greatest states in the Union. But nobody ever thought it would get finished. But it took 8 years to complete. By the time it was done, it really transformed New York State and the rest of the country, particularly at the end points, one of which is Buffalo. And you have like about a mile from here, a mile and a half from here, you have an area of Buffalo called Canal Side. Right. Which is a pretty nice area development-wise, very touristy, beautiful, all sorts of businesses around there. It's not too far from the arena, even. So, we were inspired by the story of what hard work accomplished for our city. By the end of the 19th century, Buffalo was one of the biggest cities in the entire country. So inspired by that story, and then using that inspiration to try to bring Buffalo back to what it was. So that's the story of Big Ditch Brewing Company.
Yeah, and that's again, that's where your name comes from. But it's
Yep.
it's easy for history. It's probably not lost and not even forgotten, just kind of pushed aside. So it's nice people try to bring that back again to the forefront. And for people that listen to this, they probably don't know about. I mean, people that are we got people all over the world.
Yep.
So they wouldn't know, or people maybe even different states. So it's thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, sure, yeah, and it's nice to kind of combine just a little bit of history with your drinking there, But yeah, I mean, the Erie Canal, you can go visit it anywhere along.
I think
all of New York State.
Every city it touches, they have history of that. I mean, we have Erie Canal Museum in Syracuse. We have Erie Canal trails where people run. I've kayaked it. It's rich in history.
And there's still parts in existence, right? Right on the throughway. Isn't there like the walls?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly geographically
some
where
of the
it is.
locks you can go see there. So there's different parts all along New York State you can visit. And then again, the very interesting point is that we're a year away from the 200th anniversary of the completion of the construction of the Erie Canal, which I'm sure will be celebrated throughout the state.
Sure.
Actually, we're partnering with a group like Buffalo Maritime Center's rebuilding a replica boat. They're going to put in the canal, and next year bring it down the canal and celebrate all along the way. So some cool little things we're involved with
We're
there.
coming back next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could see this thing all over the place, but they're about to put it in the water in just about a month. So it's exciting.
Yeah, that's great stuff. We're in the history of things. And so, what was this building beforehand?
So this used to be a Verizon service center. So the phone company used to own this building. They had like a service and maintenance divisions at it, all over this building. They had left many years ago. Just like a lot of buildings in the city of Buffalo, wasn't occupied, couldn't figure out a good use for it. So we have a partner developer who owns this building. He had purchased it, was using for parking, but didn't need all the space. And we were just looking for really just a wide open space to brew. So as you see the brewery downstairs, it's 2,000 square feet, but 18-foot ceilings, a floor drain, 2-inch water lines. Like, that's a brewery. Yeah. But then in addition to that, it's in the middle of downtown Buffalo. Still a lot to happen here. It's still growing, but it didn't used to be a very desirable place to work or really live. And the first time I looked at this space, I came in like a weekday at 5 o'clock. I'm like, where is everybody? I don't see very much. But knowing the breweries help to revitalize urban areas all over the country. They're building the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus just a mile and a half away. There was another restaurant that was moving in across the street. Like, maybe we're at the beginning of something. So we sort of took a little bit of a leap and hoped that this would help to revitalize our area a little bit. And, it hasn't done a lot, but a little bit. Now you can walk like a block or two in any direction, hit another nice restaurant.
Yeah,
so
you can
a little
see
bit more
some nice
happening
modern
downtown.
buildings and stuff.
Yep, if you walk down to Main Street just 2 blocks away, even Main Street Buffalo wasn't very much, maybe 10, 15 years ago. But now there's a bunch of little boutique shops and little restaurants and things like there. So, want to be in a great location for a brewery and taproom.
And is university far from here?
University of Buffalo. So they do have like a downtown like biomedical campus, but not a lot happens there. They've got 2 campuses in the area. One is in the city of Buffalo. But a little further away. You can actually hop on the train right down here and zip up that. I mean, Buffalo's a very easy place to get around.
Yeah.
It's so easy. So that's maybe about 15 minutes away, and then they have another campus on the in Northtown, Amherst. And I'm actually a UB alumni, so that's how how my introduction to Buffalo originally happened.
My wife went to UB too.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, I love going to UB. I do a lot with the university as an alumni. And so, I grew up in New York, actually. I grew up in Queens. And then went to UB for engineering. And then met my, future wife here. The rest is history.
Yep.
So,
So how many owners of Big Ditch is there?
So we've got 3 owners. Myself, our head brewer, his name's Corey. I've always been sort of the guy behind the scenes a little bit. Doing a lot of the planning or pushing things forward or whatever, doing some of the paperwork.
Making work for other people?
Yes, pretty much. I've been everybody's pain in the ass pretty much for the entire time we've been open. That's pretty much it. But Corey's the guy out there actually doing things. So he's made our beer since the beginning. doing a little bit of everything. And then we have a third partner, again, as associated with that development company I mentioned previously. So he's sort of been the guy that has helped us to find the locations, a lot in terms of the appearance of the locations we have and the function, as well as, he had already owned and run his own business. So like he helped us with a little bit of entrepreneurial expertise, let's say.
How did you guys come together? Like, how did the whole partnership mold it?
Right. So, well, a little bit of the story about the background. So me and Corey both worked in the pharmaceutical and biotech industry, actually. So my little joke is like making drugs and making beer is pretty similar. It wasn't a tough transition, but like biology and chemistry, we were working in a lab at the time. That's how we got together. Corey, like he was like dumping stuff into a batch of something and in these like food grade buckets. He's bet I could make a fermenter out of this bucket. One man's trash, another man's treasure, kind of thing, right? So, and the next day I'm like, Buffalo has got there were like 3 breweries here. I'm like, it's growing. Like maybe we could make beer. It was a fun idea. And again, with our background, maybe that would work. So it started from there. We learned how to make beer from scratch. Hadn't done that before. And then after sort of like, I think we've got a good handle on how we have a good shot at doing this. We wound up writing a business plan, shopping it around, and that's how we met our other owner. And actually, we met him through, we found this place really randomly. My wife was like Google Earthing downtown Buffalo as a for rent sign. And that's how that happened. And then we met him a little while later. He jumped in, and that's kind of how it went. So, yeah.
Google Earth for rent sign? Like she did street views?
Street view.
Yeah.
Like a for rent sign on the corner of the building. Again, this thing was unoccupied. It was just parking here. And then we walked in like, hey, we think this could be a brewery. And he had known that breweries were sort of growing. We opened in 2014. Like I said, when we were first looking at this, there were 3. By the time we opened, there were probably already, 8 or something. The year after we opened, there was 12. Now there's like 60 to 70 different breweries all in Western New York. So it's grown a lot. So we were sort of, we weren't the first, we were sort of early.
But you guys were on a somewhat, I looked it up a little bit. You guys were on a somewhat fast pace because you opened in 2014, then your chapter was 2015, then you start canning in 2016.
That's right.
That really doesn't happen that quick for a lot of people. So you must have just timed it right, and obviously did things right.
Yeah. So in like our early exploration, we got good advice from I'll mention the brewery, Good Nature Brewing. They're in Hamilton.
Sure.
Yeah. And they had like opened with a 2-barrel system, and then they expanded, something like that. They expanded pretty quickly. We went down to visit them, tried some beers, visited their stuff. They were nice enough to meet with us, and they were like,
"What's that brewer's name? The head brewer?" We met him at an amazing beer fest.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not completely sure because I know the ownership in brewery has changed a little bit. So the original owners, I don't think, are there anymore. But it was a husband and wife team originally, But they were sort of like, their advice was buy the biggest brewery you can afford. So we wound up buying a 20-barrel brewery, which was like scared me a little bit. But we got into it early enough that like we were able to do pretty well with that. And then by 2016, we went to Tap New York, which is I don't know if you're familiar with the festival. It actually, they didn't run it this year, but they ran it for the previous 12 years. The biggest New York State craft brewers festival, like 120 New York State brewers.
Is that around Albany or something?
Tap New York was in Hudson Valley, like Hunter Mountain.
Okay, yep.
And I think they moved it last few years to like Bethel, New York, where Woodstock was. But anyway, so we won an award in 2016 after being open for a year and a half for best craft brewery in New York State. And then right after that, we ran out of beer. So we expanded. We basically tripled our capacity, went to 3 shifts. Later that year, we canned. So it's basically like, we were lucky, but timing was right. We were really focused on quality. We hired a salesperson that helped us grow. So all those things sort of, worked together.
You made good beer, demand grew, and you had to go with it.
Yeah. I mean, we just kept investing in it, basically. Especially in the early days, to just try to, I guess, grow as fast as we could without compromising quality. And just, again, the timing is right that worked pretty well.
Yeah, we see a lot of people, I think, that are, so I have a chemistry background as well, a scientific background. I'm not a chemist, but I had worked for a pharmaceutical, biotech and R&D company previously. But we see a lot of people that are kind of going into this business from that career, or at least there's people that maybe didn't even come from that originally, but are really interested in the science of brewing.
Yep, yep. The saying was always, farmers make wine, engineers make beer.
Right,
I'm an engineer, so
Okay.
it's fun to something easy to geek out with,
Right.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a sort of a natural progression. Very, very different industries, but a lot of similarities.
And
as well.
the equipment, the process
Yep.
is very similar. The
Exactly.
equipment, obviously, there's no barrels in it, but as far as cooling and chilling and glycol and lines and
Yep.
cleanliness and all these things and quality control,
Yep.
all that is kind of very important, obviously.
Yeah, the couple things are, so like I had a job where I did nothing but clean tanks for 2 years. That was all I did was clean pharmaceutical tanks. Very good practice for the brewing industry. Corey worked in a clean room for like 5 years.
Oh, okay. So he was GMP?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were making, sterile products. So, these things were excellent training for what we do now. But I think like having that background, working for like you work in an FDA regulated facility, the quality is very high. Like you can't get stuff out the door unless every I is dotted and every T is crossed. So, our thought was from the very beginning, with so many breweries, thousands of breweries, like your quality has to be excellent to, stand out. So that was always from day one, like we're never going to prioritize schedule over quality. And I think that's also helped us to grow.
For sure, yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna do dark now?
Next one? Yeah, let's go to the next one. So the next is a beer called Blacklight. It's a German-style black lager. A little bit of a hybrid. We use almost like California common yeast in this one, so it's sort of an ale lager hybrid. But other than that, very traditional German malts in here. And like we've been making this beer for years. I love this beer. It's very easy to drink. Usually like beer people, like people who like classic styles, will drink this beer. Like I had like 80 local brewers here for like a little powwow we had here, and they're all drinking this one. So it's 5%. So yeah.
Dark lager.
No,
Dark
makes
lager.
sense, yeah.
So, disclosure. First time I had it was a couple months ago.
Okay. The style, you mean?
Yeah.
Or this beer?
No, dark lager.
The style, yeah.
And I was like, where has it been? Like, why didn't I hear about this earlier? And why isn't it like accessible on the shelves, at bottle shops, as easy? And I'm like, it's a great beer.
I think
that's a much bigger question.
It's for traditionalists. I think mostly the people that are aware of it.
Correct. So like at our tap room, dark beers never sell that well because people, I think, just get afraid of like, oh, it's going to be really filling or something like that. But black lager is actually very light-bodied. It's a little bit roasty, but it's not heavy at all.
Nope.
And then in terms of why it's not more on the shelves, I think there's just not a ton of traditionalists buying beer, in stores, So that used to be more of a thing a few years ago, but now people are looking for, more stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's a little more exciting. But for traditionalists, like I love this beer.
This is great, really.
Yep.
Do it,
not
guys.
You guys had requested this one.
Try it,
So,
yeah.
it was
It's
a
not
good
a porter.
request.
It's not a stout. So.
Yep, exactly.
Very
exactly.
interesting taste on this.
It's going to be, roasty for sure, like you would expect.
Yeah.
And a little bit malty, and there's like a
Usually
little bit of
settles down.
hops.
Yeah.
Yep. Very light bodied. Again, it's not very heavy. It finishes pretty quickly.
Yep.
Bitterness is not high.
Yep. It shouldn't be too high. Just a very drinkable, dark lager. So.
Yeah, these are good. When it's cold out, but you can also enjoy these in the summer when it's warm.
For sure.
But it's not like the Helles. The Helles for me is, I'm going to drink it all year.
That's an all year beer. We sort of have like a lager line that we rotate. So we'll do this German style Helles lager in the summer, and then we have just like an American Pilsner we'll do sort of in like the winter and the fall. So.
What country did you say this is traditionally in?
So this would be what's known as a German style Schwarzbier.
I was in Belgium last year, and I don't even think or maybe I've seen it, but I thought it was a stout.
So Belgians, to my memory and knowledge, don't really have an analog for this type of beer. Like Belgian style wit and a German style Hefeweizen share a lot of common themes. They taste pretty similarly. If you wouldn't really know, you'd think they're almost the same beer.
But golden, right? Golden,
Very
amber.
good.
Yeah, those are golden
Like a
beers.
copper.
There's no, to my knowledge, like Belgian style dark lager, even lager. I mean, lager's a German term. The Belgians were making a lot of ales, So, this is really a uniquely sort of, German style thing. And you've got like maybe Czech style dark lagers, stuff like that. Obviously, Americans have copied and cloned everything, but you can't find anything
No,
that's
everything.
quite Belgian.
Not even beer, just everything.
Everything, yeah. If you can think of it, Americans have tried it, for sure. So
I've added this to try everywhere I go. If they have a dark lager, I'm going to try it.
Yep, awesome.
Yeah, but
Good
at 5%, it's not going to knock you down in your ass.
Is that what it is? 5%?
5%, yeah. We like the hay burner is like 7%. A lot of our beers, especially at our tap room, are going to be lower ABV, 4, 5, 6%, just because again, folks that are drinking here, they want to go home when they're done.
But you can get stuff to go home.
Yeah,
exactly.
Cans, right, Exactly. Yeah, we had for the last 3 months, we had a 9% double IPA you could buy in packages or whatever and try here, But mostly like at our tap room, they're going to be a little lower.
I had a pineapple burner last night.
Oh, sweet.
That was pretty good, yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. That's a new one we did. Is like hay burner's our flagship, which we'll get to, but we have all sorts of variations of hay burner now. And that's a newer one with pineapple.
You guys opened 2014, so 10-year anniversary coming up?
Yeah, so we sort of celebrate our anniversaries by when our tap room opens, because most of our guests were like here. Yeah. So we're actually have our 9th anniversary party coming up in May, but officially it will be 10 years in business in October.
Okay.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah. I had a great experience here last time I was here. I always said that I think more, if possible, more tap rooms or breweries, if they can serve food, you'll get to have people.
Disadvantage a little bit.
Yeah, like just people will stick around. They'll eat. They'll drink. We've noticed a lot of breweries that do serve food also very family oriented. Yeah. Families come. And I tend to drink more when I'm eating.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, I had a great time here, and this is my second visit, and I like that we can come here more often. It's not a bad drive, couple hours for us.
Yeah, it didn't seem that long, like we were talking about earlier.
Straight down the throughway. Not too bad.
You guys have a running club.
Yeah, it's something we started last year. Actually, our marketing director's wife does a lot of running training. She has a little group that she does for that. A little side business. So she actually worked with him, and we started a running club just last year. So we do like once a month. Mondays, when the weather's nice enough, we'll gather a bunch of folks here, do a little run around the block, and then come back and have beer and food. It's good.
You guys get involved in Buffalo Marathon?
We haven't sponsored the Buffalo Marathon before. It probably is something we could look into. We've done lots of stuff like this. Like we're a sponsor of the YMCA, which does the annual Turkey Trot Run, which is the longest running continuous foot race in North America. It's put on by the YMCA. It's a 5-mile run they do on Thanksgiving. So we make a beer for that. We sponsor them. Buffalo Marathon, we just haven't got to yet.
Sure.
Yep.
I don't remember if it was last year or year before. My friend ran a Buffalo Marathon, and we all came out here just to support them. They worked really hard, so completed. And then next thing you do is you hop around breweries.
Oh yeah.
Have food, have beers.
Oh yeah. There's nothing like that first meal and that first beer after the marathon. I'm a runner myself, although I'm getting older, so it's getting a little harder. But yeah, I've been there before. Yeah, and beer, like I'm always like, beer is a perfect beverage for after a run. It's got it's got protein, it's got carbohydrates.
Yeah.
It's got water. It takes the edge off a little bit.
You guys probably can't tell, but my running days are gone.
Yeah. I'm getting there. It's like I'm spending almost more time injured than running.
Oh, that's it. Right.
I got to run a marathon before I get too old.
Yep. I've run one marathon.
Oh, you have?
Yeah,
here?
I ran it in Erie, Pennsylvania, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's 2 hours away from here, and they have a beautiful course in Presque Park, which is just a great state park. You sort of run an island twice. So anyway, that's many years ago.
My brother lives in Boston, and we just made a pact. We're like, okay, 2025, we're running our marathon.
Yeah.
He's done them. I haven't. So.
But like Boston Marathon, you're talking?
He did Boston Marathon, but not officially registered. He didn't raise enough money for the charity.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But he did run it. But I've never. So.
Yeah, the Boston Marathon. That's a challenge.
I
would never.
Yeah.
I would never be able to qualify for that.
Yeah, I think you have to charity and raise money for the charity.
Yeah.
I'm busy that day.
Exactly. It's more like that year.
So moving on to number 3.
Yes.
Ready for number 3? All right, cool. So the next one you guys had requested was a the Belgian Blonde Ale. This one we called Natural Blonde. So we, like our taproom list, we like to keep it not a strange concept, but sort of diverse. So we've got a little bit of something for everybody. We're not like the brewer that's doing 12 IPAs or 12 sours or anything like that. So I always like to try to have a Belgian style beer on. We've done all sorts, but this is just like a traditional Belgian Blonde Ale. Think of like Leffe, something like that. So not too much to this beer, just like Pilsner malts, a little bit of hops and some nice Belgian yeast, but very, very dry, drinkable. This one's 6%. So
How many beers do you keep on tap?
We shoot for around 12. So that number might go as long as 10, maybe gets up to 14.
But certainly a selection to pick from, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like the guests get angry if you've got less than 8. So we know, like, they want a few different ones to try. But like I find if you have too many, then they'll sit around a little bit. We like to keep it rotating and fresh. So 12 sort of like the sweet spot for us. Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. This is another light beer that's just very.
Yeah. But again, this one's 6%, so a little bit stronger than the previous ones. But again, very, very drinkable.
But tastes light.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Like
this one's probably the driest beer we're gonna have. Like this one, there's not a lot of residual sugar in this beer.
This is like if I worked outside on a hot day, I'm putting down an entire can.
You can bathe in this.
I'm gulping this thing down.
It's easy, yeah.
One can, that's it.
To start.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I love Belgian style beers is like they are all pretty much very dry. So like they're which makes them super drinkable. Again, today's drinker, they're looking for some more sweetness and a little less subtlety, a little more like in your face flavor.
Up front.
But I still love beers like this.
Yeah, this has got a little bit of an aftertaste. I mean, pleasant aftertaste in the back end.
Yep.
It's really good. It's not like you're not feeling like you're done as soon as it hits your tongue.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's not. I mean, it's still got a little bit of residual sweetness in there, kind of. But
You've had customers come back and maybe upset that you stopped serving any.
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time.
We talked to another brewer not too long ago, and he was like, "Yeah, they come out and be like upset, mad at me." He's like, "Okay, I'll bring it back, but it's just it didn't make sense financially."
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's you can't accommodate to everybody, right?
Yeah.
But you do your best.
The only beer that we still make from the very beginning, from when we opened, is Hayburner, the last beer we're going to try. Everything else has gone through. I mean, everything has a life cycle. It's everything.
But you can always bring it back.
And you can always bring it back.
Yeah,
Sure.
And the feedback is good, positive or negative. You learn from it, but I think constructive is the way to go. I mean, if people can do that. But
and there's people who still remember us by some beer we made in 2015 or whatever. So you can always bring that back. But usually there's a reason why we're not. Either it didn't sell well, or it's very expensive, or maybe there's technical challenges with it that makes it a little hard to replicate. But there's all sorts like that.
Yeah, it's ever evolving for sure. Anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then folks who want that old, there's always something new that's going to come along that's going to scratch that itch. So we try to keep it fresh.
And there's trends. I mean, Roman and I, we didn't get into sours until we started this. I never had a sour before. I mean, fortunately, unfortunately, I've been drinking for decades. So, but there was just no sour.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, you couldn't find them.
Yeah, they weren't around. And for us, I mean, we both talk about it. We're honest about things. If we don't like beer, we'll tell people. But the lactose beers are pretty difficult. I don't know. So we've had some beers lately, and I didn't realize they had lactose in them.
This sour does have lactose.
Yeah. So and I think that'll be okay. We had one specific beer that was like a milkshake.
Yeah.
It was very difficult.
A sour, like a milkshake sour.
It was.
Was that a sour?
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
Or like there's a lot of these pastry sours. These things have a lot of sugar in them.
No, this was. I mean, it was really weird to see. It was really weird to look at. The color was blue or red, like slushy.
Yeah.
And then it was coming out of the can when we opened it.
Oh yeah.
And then we're trying to drink it, and I needed a spoon.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe some people love that. I do not.
Yeah. I mean.
Or we do not.
We tend to. Well, look, we're shooting for drinkability,
Mm-hmm.
so nothing too bitter, and nothing too sweet, because I think those things sort of hurt the drinkability. There's ranges in there, right? But if it's like literally like you need a spoon for it, or it's like yogurt or whatever, that's usually not something we're doing too much of. Again, in small doses, anything's fine. But
And it may be for some people, like in a survival situation, if there's an apocalypse, I'd probably have one of those. It's because you can like ration it off, and it's probably got all the food groups in
Yeah,
it.
it's probably
Like-
lots of nutrition.
Yeah, there's something like
yeah.
you can burn calories as you're eating and stuff like that. But it was different.
Yeah. But I know that style has been, popular, amongst several folks. But and again, we do stuff like that, but nothing quite that.
And of course, IPAs are huge, and
Yep.
so you got to kind of follow that market trend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think IPAs have always been our best seller, and it probably always will be. So, but again, like at our tap room, we try to keep it a little more diverse. So, I think if you've got so many IPAs, they're sort of blending together. I've had that experience. They're good, but they're all blending together. Like, we love, at our brewery, we love beer.
Yep.
And I think the great thing about beer, even compared to something like wine a little bit, is the diversity you can get from sort of very similar ingredients, malt, hops, water, yeast. So we try to keep it, diverse here and a little bit of everything.
Yep. Yeah. So we don't have it here, but I think you won an award last month, right? For a barrel-aged non-sour.
We did, yeah. We won at the New York State Brewers Association competition, which I think now may be the largest state-run competition in the whole country.
Is this the governor's ball they get?
Yes,
Yeah,
the
okay.
Governor's Cup. Yep, that's what they do.
Cup, sorry.
Yep. And that is a competition that's grown and grown over time. I think they had over 1,500 entries. It's become very, very competitive. We've won many awards through that, but like maybe 2017, 2018, we'd walk away for like 3-4 awards. Now, if we win one, I'm pretty happy with it because it's just so competitive.
And there's over 500 breweries.
Yeah,
So you got-
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, there's hundreds of breweries, but we won an award for a bronze medal for barrel-aged non-sour for a stout we did called Aqueducts, and it was aged in bourbon barrels and maple barrels. And then the sort of the funny thing about that is that last year we won an award, the gold medal in the same category for almost the same beer, but that was instead of being aged in maple barrels, it was aged in cherry brandy barrels. So apparently we're onto something with this sort of double barrel aging bourbon barrel thing. We won some nice awards for this.
And those are probably high ABV.
Yeah. So when we talk about drinkability, like those are not the most drinkable beers. These are beers when we do them at our tap room, most people are taking home with them.
Right.
We released that beer on a day we call Stoutsgiving. It's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We'll put out so we sort of beat like the Bourbon County rush by a couple days,
Right.
And we put out a few barrel-aged beers, a bunch of other stouts. Like we'll have like 12 different stouts all available on one day. But yeah, that's been a pretty nice one for us for winning an award.
So those beers have zero crushability.
No, those are sippers. Yeah, you don't want to drink those too fast.
Those are appetizer beers.
Yeah.
Where are you sourcing your barrels from?
We've got them from all over the place. So like that beer, actually, the double barrel, we usually put the beer in the first run from a local-ish distillery. So we've been using Hartman's Distillery the last few years. We also used Iron Smoke out in Rochester. We used Black Button in Rochester. We use Tommy Rider in Buffalo as well too. So we've used a few different folks for that. And then the secondary barrel will be wherever we can get it from, because you can't just find cherry or maple from wherever. So there's barrel brokers nationally that can get you some boutique type stuff. So kind of wherever we can, but we do try to use local wherever we can as well.
Do you are you able to use already used barrels, or is that what you're using?
Yeah, so
they're not new.
If you're going to age your beer in a barrel, well, it depends what you're trying to accomplish, right? But like a bourbon barrel would be a distillery's aged their bourbon in a barrel. They've emptied it. These are sometimes like fresh empty barrels, and you get your beer into that. But sometimes you just want it straight on wood. Like a sour beer works for that. You can use wine barrels, so like age the wine like a Chardonnay barrel.
Sure. Yep.
Wine goes in the barrel, comes out, you put your beer in there, it works nice for like a saison or a sour or something like that. So yeah, there's all different things you can do.
Something we were going to actually start talking about before I clicked the record, and now I'm blanking.
We were going to talk about Lockport maybe.
Lockport, that's right. Sorry. I was so excited about beer.
You guys are like more than I've done, so that's all good,
All right.
I might just kind of spill over here.
That's fine. Yeah. You can go back down the ladder there. Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about Lockport.
Yeah, sure. So that's the project we're excited about. After trying to figure out, our tap room has done well since we opened. It's a great place for customers to go and get a again, diverse experience for food and beer and all sorts of different things. And in spending years trying to figure out what the next thing might be, we just found a great location in Lockport. Again, we're like minutes away from the Erie Canal, which is just tied to our history and our story. And again, Lockport sort of feels like downtown Buffalo did when we first opened here. There, wasn't too much going on here. We're sort of on the cusp of development. We thought there was potential for a lot more. So that's where we're going to be planning on Lockport. It should be, it's a beautiful building. It's a historic post office, historic preservation.
So again, you're going into another building you're not building new, you're kind of repurposing something.
Repurposing, yeah.
That's really a big part of what we're interested in. Like, we like that. The history, not so much, I guess, what's that called when you upcycle or recycle stuff like that? Like, I know you're in this industry. Can't you tell me?
Historic, like reuse,
yeah.
Kind of thing.
But you're not building new, and it's not new brick and mortar. It's not. It's something you're kind of using that's already existing. Yeah.
We've never built. We haven't
What
built.
am I doing?
I don't know. You do this for a living. I don't know.
You thought you might have that.
Construction and real estate.
Yeah. So you build shit. I mean.
Right.
No, but
we haven't built any shit.
Yeah. No, so by the way, this is not shit. I'll tell you this. I mean, the room we're in, people can see, but you can tell it's a very nice building, and it's very accommodating, and it's upscale looking, and kind of industrial modern. And I mean, I'm sure that's obviously by design, but it's some places we go to, it just maybe don't look this nice.
Yeah.
And there's so much seating area you have here. You got
Yeah, it's a big
downstairs, you got
space.
upstairs. You guys do events probably here as
We
well,
do,
right?
we do. So again, that was intimidating when we first opened. Like, this is big space.
Yeah.
But then, like, it was pretty. I mean, it's not full all the time, but it was pretty full right from the start. So showing that there was, people looking for stuff like this.
So how big is the Lockport location?
It's very similar in size. Actually, it is a little bit bigger. Some of the space are bigger, some are smaller, but very similar in size to what we have here. So a pretty big space. Again, a little, intimidating, daunting for us. We're like, we're putting ourselves out there a little bit. But again, I think speaking with many different folks at Lockport, like they're looking for something like this in the city of Lockport. So we're excited.
But you're never gonna have enough room for sure. You might have too much room to begin with, but you're never gonna have enough in the long run. It's like building a house or a garage. Like you're gonna find stuff to fill it up with.
Yep, exactly. So, but in similar in terms of concepts. We'll have a little bit of private event space there. It's a big open space. Just and again, the appearance of the space is our development partner. They just do a great job with. Just making the spaces look
Exterior
beautiful.
as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a historic preservation, so they've spent already years.
So there's regulations for that.
Correct, but they've already spent years just restoring the building. So like the work to restore the building is pretty much done. It's already a beautiful building. Now we just have to start the construction to turn it into a tap room and restaurant.
Do you know how old the building is?
That's a good question. I probably should know that, but I don't.
That's okay. We'll check it out.
If there was no beer involved,
I was just wondering. I'm going to use this term.
I should know that. It's like I haven't toured that space yet, so I don't have my spiel down for that space.
If it's historic preservation, it's got to be over 100 years old.
I would guess
See,
so.
I know you knew this shit. Right?
Well, it's part of the real estate.
I would guess, 100, 150 years.
Yeah, so over 100 years old.
Historic post office. So
I'm going to use
That's
this
so
term.
great.
How long has Lockport needed a post office? That's how long it's been
Right.
there,
Right. You date back.
Yeah, so.
Are there any, I'm going to say artifacts of post office equipment or anything that you guys will reuse? Because that'd be really cool.
Well, reuse,
Like lock boxes or.
Well, okay, I don't want to say so. I'm not gonna say we're to use them, but they will be there on display, and something that we can show and teach them.
Use
so,
for aesthetics. In
the middle of the new tap room is a old scale. Like one of these things it's built into the floor. You stand, it's got the little dial that goes. It's humongous. Why is a scale this big? That's what it had to be back then. So that
Shipping
historic scale.
elephants.
And then there's also exactly. And then there's also a this is really interesting, like a lookout. So they'd have the post office workers seated on the floor, sorting mail, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the captain would be able to go into the top little thing and make sure everybody's doing what they're doing, so you could still see the lookout.
Big Brother's watching.
Yeah, and the thing is actually not that big. So like it's like, I'm not sure if people were shorter back then or just they didn't give people enough room. But
Put eyeballs in there.
but so we'll probably call attention.
Move like this.
Yeah, we'll probably call attention to the lookout that you had over, but I don't think we can actually access that space anymore. So it should have just preserved historically.
So was this something? So it was a post office.
It was a post office.
And then after it was not a post office or closed, was it anything before you guys got it?
It's been all sorts of stuff since then. Like I've heard, and I've only heard all the stories. Like I don't know the complete history yet, but it's been like a hair salon or maybe a little bar, a little food thing there, and nothing that's really worked. Again, our development partner, it's not just us in there. He's got other tenants that are going to move into the space, but it's just
So it's multi-floor, and you guys will probably be on the bottom.
It's a really big space. I think there's 3 or 4 floors. Yeah, we've got the basement space and then the first floor, part of the first floor, and then he's got a few tenants all around, which again is nice for built-in business people working there. So
are you brewing there?
We will be. So this site now, where we're at now, has our original brewery there. And like I said, we moved a lot of that to our new production facility because it's just a little newer, more automated, more efficient. So a lot of what we do here is now pilot work. So all these beers before we brew them, in production scale, we brew them at a pilot scale.
So you don't ruin a big batch versus ruin a small batch.
Right, exactly. Before you throw away one of these things, you're throwing away one of these things, Not that we have to do that very often, but,
But it is reality, yeah.
So, but our pilot system is, it's a glorified turkey fryer or whatever it is. So we'll probably put a little bit of a nicer pilot system over in the Lockport location that will probably scale a little bit better than what we're doing here. So, and do a little bit bigger pilot batches. It'll be a 2-barrel versus a little less than a 1-barrel pilot system. So that our pilot system will be there.
Mm-hmm. Good.
You're going to have a kitchen you'll be serving food over?
Yep, for sure. So just like you said, the food, initially, just like you had sort of said, initially when we were doing food, we're sort of like, we just want to keep people in their seats drinking more. Yeah. So, but then very quickly we found out that, and this is a credit to our original GM and our original kitchen manager, chef, the food was better than even we had imagined. And now we have people that come here that don't drink beer. They're coming here for food.
That's okay.
And yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So we serve wine, we serve liquor, we serve non-alcoholic beverages, all sorts of things here. And that's great, So yeah, so the food is a good big part of it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing to go to one location, brewery, and be able to accommodate variety of needs. Whether it's just I'm here for a meal, I'm here gathering with friends and family, or I'm here for a good beer, a bite. I'm on my way somewhere.
Yep. And again, we've never we've never catered to one specific group there. Again, we try to keep this place accepting of anybody who's looking for a space to do just about anything.
You guys do live bands at all?
That's a good question. We don't do live music here. I mean, we've experimented with it.
Yeah, live music. I didn't mean live bands.
Yeah, right.
You do dead bands?
Dead bands.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Like right here. We've done some of it before, but the space, as you'll see, it isn't like super conducive to live music. Just a lot of hard surfaces and concrete. But in Lockport, we will have a live music program because we've got a little outdoor space in the back, a little patio. So we think we can make that work there.
Sure.
So because of the outdoor space, is it going to be like a pet friendly?
That's a good question. We're working on that because this space we can't do that for, but I believe we're trying to do that just for the patio space. Yep.
You don't have outdoor seating here?
We do, but it's connected. So we basically have to open the outdoor. We have to open the doors.
That's when you bring the outdoor.
There's no entrance into the patio. It's connected to the restaurant. When we're there, you should be able to get into the patio instead of going inside.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to do.
That's
That.
Outdoor access.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you don't have to go through the building.
Can we do this one now?
Yeah.
Let's do this one now. Yeah.
I'm just so excited about
Look
this.
at the pink one. Yeah, right. Yeah. So this is a beer we called Strawberry Vision. So it's a kettle sour ale made with strawberries and blueberries. Again, very fruity. Got some tartness. Has some sweetness, but definitely not overly tart, not overly sweet, going for balanced drinkability. It's 5.4%, and it's new. We actually just started canning this just this past week, and then the first batch in Kansas coming out tomorrow. So you're getting a sort of little bit of an advanced preview.
We try to always like target
Tomorrow,
these things.
so-
Like we do things like we get it exclusive. Like we're this
Yep.
breaking news agency,
Exclusive, yeah.
but we're getting the exclusive.
Exclusive,
things.
yeah. So let's see what you think of it. Yeah, cheers.
I like that.
The fruit is not punchy, but it's there.
Yep. Yeah, it's not over the top.
Right in the front. Yeah.
Strawberry right there. Boop.
Yep, strawberry. Yep. The blueberry, it's called strawberry vision, so the strawberry is more prominent. The blueberry is a little more of an accent,
Yeah.
Boy.
But pretty nice.
That's fun to
sour ale.
drink.
Yeah. It's a fun one. I think these are always fun.
Yeah.
And you don't get that. Remember those commercials, bitter beer face? We don't get that with this. Some are bitter, and I don't mind them, but this is just not one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not, very little bitterness in this. And it's definitely not like puckeringly sour. It definitely has like a tart. I usually say these are like tart more than sour.
Oh, sure, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, tart is always nice. Like sour is a thing that people have attached to this brand, but like very few of them at this point. Like beers made like this are very sour. A lot of them are sort of a little more tart. You know?
I couldn't even comprehend when I heard sour beer. I'm like, what am I drinking? Pickle juice? Like,
Yep.
like what is it going to be?
There are pickle beers too, by the way.
There is.
yeah.
There is.
You can
Yeah.
find
But
those.
I was just a little worried that I'd be so discouraged to even try it again, and then I eased into it and I was like, wow, that's called sour? Like that's.
So what are your guys' favorite styles then? Are you guys more traditionalists? Or you just like everything across the map, or what do you think?
I'm more of a traditionalist.
Or
for
IPA
sure.
guy, traditionalist?
I'll try these. I mean, they're fine. In IPAs, we drink a lot of IPAs.
A lot of IPAs.
At one point, we're like, I think we got to stop drinking the IPAs
Yeah.
because they're heavy. They're good, but it's just you can get into this sort of vacuum where you don't get to experience the other ones.
Yep.
Stouts and all these kind of like the Hellas I was telling you about. And
Yep.
I had one out of Pennsylvania. It was good. And so I'll drink it all. I'll drink anything. And then
Yep.
once I don't like it, I just like that lactose I was telling you about.
Yep.
But really, stouts, porters, lagers, ales, all these things. I mean, we've had some 13, 14% bourbon barrel aged things, and I'll have it all, but there's nothing I just won't say no to up front.
Yep.
Yep.
I think for me, like it depends on the situation and the mood I'm in and what I'm going to be eating. Like bourbon stouts, I love those with a cigar.
Yep.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
That goes great with a cigar.
I used to, when I was first introduced to cigars, and it was all about, with a whiskey or a bourbon, but I was like, well, how about a beer? So we were in Pennsylvania and we went to Hershey and we had some bourbon stout. I was like, why don't we do this with cigars? And we sat on the porch and it was great. I was like, I got to do this more often.
Gotcha.
It's not as strong as bourbon, but you still get that flavor in it.
Yep.
You enjoy it. And as far as favorite beer, it's hard for me because I like surprises. Like I'm like, ooh, I wonder what that's gonna taste like. Like this.
Yeah.
This really surprised me,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, sometimes I'll have that craving. I'll drink that all day or something.
Yep.
Such a wide variety. It's so hard to say what's your favorite.
I totally agree with you. People I don't know if this might be on your agenda, but
Yeah.
what's your favorite beer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the unanswerable question. But usually I'm the same way. I'm like, it's not really like a favorite. It's situation.
What you prefer at that point.
So in the summer, I want something light and drinkable and crushable, whatever,
Yeah,
a
not these
lawnmower
IPAs,
beer,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But in the winter, like you said, I'm good with a barrel-aged stout or barley wine or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
dark beer, something stronger. So I'm the same way. But again, that's what's great about beer. You got something for sort of every occasion, So
Yeah.
I totally agree with you.
Our idea of a podcast started around the fire on the camp when we were camping, and it was drinking beer, sitting around camping.
that was just
and
like shit production beer.
shooting shit and joking, busting balls. It was just like all of that going on, and I'm just like, hey, why don't we do a podcast?
Yeah.
We do this every
But
year.
then it took 3 years to get to that point.
Yeah.
But I never really.
That's how it
drank.
goes sometimes. Same story here.
Exactly. You build a business. But I never really drank dark beers prior to maybe 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
It was all just like golden stuff.
You just didn't like them?
No, I just didn't really. I would always go with what I know.
Hadn't explored them.
Yeah, and I'd have porters here and there, but on the big quantity, you go fill your refrigerator. It's just an amber beer.
Right,
Go
exactly.
with some sort of golden beer, like a little 4.5%, 5% thing. But now you open up your palate and you kind of get these experiences, and you can kind of see I mean, I always drank craft beer, but it was just never really dark.
Right. Well, yeah, that's fun.
All right, what's the last one here?
All right, so the last one is Hayburner American IPA. This is our flagship beer. We've been making it since we opened.
Always on tap.
Always on tap. Well, it's not just here. This is Hayburner has become the most popular beer in Western New York. So and like craft beer, yes, but almost beer. There's actually more tap lines for Hayburner in Buffalo than there are for even like something like Budweiser.
I see. Sure.
So you can find this anywhere. In Rochester, it's very popular as well too. It's an American IPA, so it's not a traditional hazy. It's funny, the appearance is a little variable. So today's batch looks a little bit hazy to me, actually. Like, it doesn't always look like this.
Because you got West Coast, New England, American.
Yeah, this is sort of in the middle. Like, this is going to sort of be like a hazy IPA with a little bit of bitterness to it. Sometimes it looks a little clearer than this. So, but yeah, it's sort of in the middle, but very, very drinkable. So, like, we came up with this beer again in 2014. It was sort of like as Heady Topper was popular. Like, boy, I really like these like hop flavored beers that aren't very bitter. But just a little bit of bitterness, and that's kind of where we shot for. Not very malty. This is before even New England IPA was really a thing. Like, Heady Topper is really the original New England IPA, but and it's been a progression, but just a very, very popular beer for us. You can find this anywhere in Western New York, pretty much.
Perfect.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Cheers. Enjoy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's super citrusy, orange, grapefruit. It's not really ever been anything that's been tropical. So there's maybe a little bit of pineapple flavor in there. It's made with like very 2014 popular hops. You know, there's a little bit of newer hops in there, but again, sort of like a flavor forward, not super bitter.
Yeah.
Almost like West Coast IPA, but again, like it's unfiltered, so it sort of fits a lot of different things.
This isn't a Mike Tyson heavyweight punch. This is like a light featherweight boxer.
Correct. But it's 7.2%.
Yeah.
So that adds to the charm of it, actually. So if you ask enough Buffalonians that drink this beer, like everybody's had a Hayburner moment. It's like, like when we were open. Again, we weren't the first craft brewery here, but I think people are still sort of learning about craft beer, and I don't think they all realize that like drinking 3 Hayburners is not like drinking 3 Labatt Blues.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, what the hell just happened? And like, you can't taste the alcohol.
Yeah.
Because of the way we brew it. So we'd get, and so that added to the, mystique a little bit. Yeah. Not that we're doing anything extremely new, but just we were doing it at the right time. It's got great flavor. It's become very popular.
By the look of it, I was expecting something else.
What were you expecting?
Just more punch in the front, higher bitterness. And I took a sip. I'm like, light, easy.
Yep.
Don't taste a lot of
So you were saying
alcohol.
you like when you get surprises. Is that a good surprise?
Yeah, all of it. It was just amazing. And yeah, that's a good surprise.
Okay, good.
But I think the grapefruit and the citrus masks the alcohol.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
For sure, yeah. But again, like we make more intense IPAs. Every month we'll do some limited new IPA. We'll put in cans and sell at our tap room, sell a little bit here and there. But we'll probably never make another beer like Hayburner. Just nothing will be as popular as this beer ever. And it's a combination of all those things. Again, just like drinkability. It's a very affordable too. We work really hard to keep our costs down, make it affordable for our guests. Good flavor. It just fits everything perfectly for us.
It's like a WTFH. Like, yeah. Like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah. Yes. That's exactly.
Or what the fuck, Hayburner?
What the fuck, Hayburner?
My story that I always tell
That's a
is
T-shirt.
I had like the original Hayburner stories back when we used to homebrew it. We had like 1 keg. So we brew a batch, fill a keg, and we're like, we got to empty this keg. We're going to brew tomorrow, and we had like a gallon and a half of Hayburner left. We're going to kill this keg tonight.
Sure.
And drinking, like almost a gallon of Hayburner in one sitting is not a good idea.
Yeah.
I do not advise that. Even though there might be people that do that, but I've been there.
Mornings are rough, right?
Oh yeah, the next day was not feeling great. Yeah. So.
No, I can taste the grapefruit, and this is really good. I've had some of these before, but I had, like I said, I had the pineapple Hayburner last night. So
Yep.
this is different,
For sure.
similar, but obviously just not as much pineapple. But
Yeah, the
was
pineapple
really-
hay burner has a lot of the dry hops removed and obviously all the fruit added. So other than that, similar base, maybe a little lighter bitterness, very similar like malt base, but just taking out a lot of the dry hops, adding all the pineapple.
Yep.
So that's a variant. Hay burner's become such a big brand for us that we have little sub brands.
That's right.
Going off, so we have Day Burner, which is 4.9%
Oh,
hay
yeah,
burner.
yeah.
That's become pretty popular for us, particularly in summer.
Is Day Burner an IPA?
Day Burner is like a session IPA. We
Yep,
use the
yep.
term refreshing IPA.
Yep.
So 4.9%
Yep.
IPA. It's a little less bitter than Hay Burner actually. It's a little more drinkable. But yeah, pineapple. We did a sleigh burner for Halloween with blood oranges. We've
Blood orange is good. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other wacky like hay burner. We've done. So hay burner is a reference. The story on hay burner is a reference to the mules that would tow the boats down the canal.
Oh, okay.
I see.
So they didn't
called hay
have
burner?
any powered
Right, because
boats. You had to tow them down the canal.
That's right.
So just all this thing did was like work, eat, and sleep, right? So we put, they call them hay burners. Put a little angry mule on the front of the can. And so the variants off of that, we did one called Space Donkey, which is like hay burner with galaxy hops in it, So fun stuff like that, So
The mule is a donkey and a horse.
yep,
Cross.
yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
In
Or a
case someone
jackass.
sees,
Or a jackass.
yeah, it depends who's on it.
Depends, right? What you want to, how you want to go there. But
So
sure.
we love hearing histories of breweries, and everyone has such a unique and interesting story. But everyone has gone through hurdles. What was Big Ditch's hurdle that you guys had to get over to really, you guys are very successful, and you're probably examples to some of the smaller breweries. What was the toughest hurdle that you guys had to kind of overcome and get to this success?
Maybe outside of COVID, because everybody has that hurdle.
Right.
Yeah,
COVID's
yeah.
the obvious one,
Yeah.
right? It's like you're sort of like, are we going to get through this?
Right. Did you have licensing issues or anything like this, or ingredient supplier
licensing
problems?
was never that bad. Ingredient supplier problems all tied to COVID though.
I see.
So coming out of COVID, we couldn't get cans. That was a struggle. But other than that, look. So for something like we do, for a while we were running a 3-shift brewing operation, lunch and dinner 7-day a week, restaurant operation. Every day is an adventure. You never know exactly what's going to happen or go on. Who you never was walking in the door. What somebody wants, right? Other than that, I think as we were trying to open, the hardest part for us was just finding the money. It was kind of we made the beer, we wrote a business plan, we thought we had a good thing going, but it took a long time to actually get to the point where actually this might become a reality. And there were days I'd go back to Corey and we were trying to shopping it around, I don't think this is going to happen, man. I'm about ready to throw in the towel. I'd be like, no, let's got a couple more things we can work on. So the lesson there is just don't give up. I'm glad he had good advice. Don't give up. Keep working at it. And if you believe in your sort of dream, you should probably be able to find somebody else that believes in it too.
When did you have the moment of holy shit, we're doing this?
It was actually going to happen?
Yeah.
When we found the money.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right.
There was a meeting. It's we're going to do this, and then this is how it's going to go. And I came home and I talked to my wife, and I was like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
We need to prepare for this. We were working for a biotech company. We had corporate jobs, and it was okay, we're going to risk a lot of our personal well-being. We both took massive pay cuts.
And
to
that
go do
security
this.
with this place.
I had two young kids. Holy shit! But again, we believed in it. We did our homework, and we thought it had a chance of working. If it didn't, we still would have probably relished the experience. But yeah, it worked out.
Are you where you expected to be within this time, or you exceeded your expectations?
According to your business plan, yeah.
Right. So I think we hit year 7 to 10 of our business plan in year 3 or 4.
Oh, nice.
So it went really fast in the beginning, But then, post-COVID, I'd say it's gone a little bit slower, actually.
But still stable.
But still stable. Yeah, it's stable. We're still, we've adjusted our expectations based on COVID. Obviously, craft beer was really, really booming before COVID. Now it's sort of in the definitely mature phase, and so we've adjusted our expectations for that, but still growing. And, we still like making and selling beer. So, we're going to keep doing it.
Your beers are delicious.
Absolutely.
You have great brewery. You guys have you're running a great team and business. Anything you'd like to add before we wrap this up?
No, just, I appreciate folks like yourselves that are, enthusiastic about beer, coming here and talking with us about it. And I appreciate all of our guests that are enthusiastic about beer. And, doing stuff like this makes it all worthwhile. We do this, for our customers. So thank you.
And I speak for both of us. I'm sure, thank you for, Big Ditch and the history you're keeping alive, and the sort of, how everything ties into what you guys, Lockport, Erie Canal, all these things. So, it's not easy to do, but it's working for you.
Yep.
So, we appreciate you having us, and I think we'll go do a tour now
Let's
of
do
the
a
brewery.
tour.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
that sounds good.
everything,
Thank you.
Everything's great here. So thank you very much.
Good. Yeah. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.